So go for Walter's sentence.
Yeah, like just this particular map, as I said.
That's yours.
Yeah, I was doing the research in the parish of Beaufort, and our black line, as the bishop would tell you, and I went down to Bishop's house, and I knocked on the door, and I was hoping to speak to Irene, who I knew quite well, and this man opens the door, and it's the bishop himself, and he said, "You're looking for a bit of information," and I said, "Yeah." And you know the way when you're in the presence of, you don't know lordship, your reverendship, what do you say, all of a sudden you think, I said, "Come on in here, I'll show you these." And I said, "Can I get copies?" "Oh, of course you can." And I said, "How relevant are these maps?" He said, to this very day, every house on every border knows where they are. And he said, it's absolutely, and he was talking about the changes, and other changes there. He said, "Oh, you see, they know where they live, and they know what parish they're in, and so you don't have to worry too much." But he said that map is still used. That's the deanery map, and it has never changed. And it's amazing, like the history, like, and as he said, like there are errors and omissions in everything. But he said when it comes to divinity, this is it. And it's strange. What you got it doesn't, we can't see it here, but there's a little part of Black Line, Yellow Fort, in what we call the League Parish today. And it's strange, just with a little slip. And these things happen. Well, we were discussing between Screen and Yellow Fort at the time, where is Bellew and where is the line, and everybody knew, right down at the house. So it's actually a very interesting map. But that's the way he works it. And he said to this day, the parish priest that's his business, and it's still there. Will we leave it at that?
Yeah.
Listen, Christopher, you're very welcome anytime. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank him especially. He was a guinea pig tonight. And as our society has grown, we find ourselves with so many more people, and we find ourselves that we have to record our talks because so many people want them. Also, sound has become important. We used to use the static mic, and people didn't like people talking because, like Christopher, he likes to move around and everything else. So we have to invest in new sound equipment. This is our first time used tonight. I think he did right. By the way, if you join tonight, or you have the rest of the year, you also get a free journal in 2025. If you join for 2026, well, you get the full year, but you have to pay for your journal. So I'll let you work it out yourself and cancel the logistics. But we are growing. Things are going really well for Navan District Historical Society. And you can see tonight, people are interested. And we have speakers like this, we have no problem filming this. So once again, safe home, thank you all very much. We're back here on the 27th of October with Jim O'Leary, who's the kind of, we'll say, the Christopher of the Tkane convention. And he's doing something on a similar level. I hope you'll enjoy that. Good night, God bless.